Hello and welcome back to Workshop Wednesday. I'm Chelsea Pussymeyer. Thanks for joining me today in my workshop, and this is take 2 of how to thread your industrial sewing machine. Well, this industrial Yuki is the one that I'm using for example. It is a DDL 9000 B/SS, and I did a little live YouTube video last week and it didn't turn out so well with the volume and zooming in, so I decided to just shoot another one here so that you can see in a little more detail how to thread an industrial machine. And I mentioned that machines are really standard. There's pretty much just slight differences across the board, whether it is even a household sewing machine or an industrial machine, and especially between industrial machines, at least all of the different ones that I've worked with, and I've worked with a number of different brands, is there's a lot of similarity throughout them. So let's get started and take a look how to first do a bobbin. So up here we have our thread holder, and this is the thread holder for when we're sewing, and here's the one for when we're making a bobbin. I can actually make a bobbin at the same time that I am sewing with this machine. Now that we have it threaded through there, we're going to take it down to the bobbin tension rod, which is just over in the corner here. So we're going to just stick it through from the back to the front, loop it around, and stick it again through from the back to the front in this second hole at the bottom. There we go. So now that we have it through there, we're just going to pull it tight and wrap it around, ensuring that it sits in between these two tension discs. So on this machine, we have tension discs for our bobbin, and that's really great because it's important for a bobbin to be threaded or wound rather with proper tension. You don't want your bobbin to be too tight, so we're just gonna feed it through the next little loop and then over to where the bobbin is actually wound. So I'll bring it over here and I'm just gonna put the bobbin on. I like to just stick the thread through one of the bobbin holes and then just hold it while it starts to wind. So we'll just click it on and close it up. So always make sure that your needle is up, that your pressure foot is up, and I also like to take out the bobbin casing if I'm not stitching at the same time that I am making my bobbin. So I'm just gonna quickly wind this bobbin. Just gonna hold this tight until it comes off. So it's important to check just your bobbin tension. This is really nice. It's soft, but it's not loose. You don't want your thread to be pulled too tight, otherwise it can actually kind of stretch out the yarn or the thread, and when you sew then, and you leave your garment, whatever you've sewn, for a few minutes or a couple of hours, then the thread can relax and kind of shrink back to its original length, and that can cause puckering along your stitch. So it's just really important to have a softly wound bobbin. So that's where the industrial machine with the tension is really nice to have. And then it just pops out like a lot of machines once it's full, and you can pull it off. And I have just this little thread cutter actually on the top of my machine, so I'm just going to loop it around, chop it off, and then we'll put the bobbin aside for now and go back up and move our thread over. So I'm just going to pull this out and move it over. So once it's moved over, we're going to go back up here, thread it through how it comes off the spool right at the top, pull it down. I am going to just give it a little trim here quick. So then once we have our thread on the spool peg and then coming up through, we'll then go to the machine over to the thread guide peg. So this is the thread guide peg. My machine is actually a little bit loose in the socket here. So this peg actually has a hole in the top. So I'm going to first feed the thread through that hole in the top, and it's going to come out the left side. And wrap it around the back and stick it through the hole on the side. Once it's through that hole, we're going to bring it forward through our pre-tension. So I have 2 tension rods on this machine, and I'm going to put it just through the thread guide here at the top, through this first set of tension wheels. Then I'm going to feed it through the thread guide below, going down to the regular tension. So first we're going to feed it through the tension discs here, back around into the tension spring, and then loop it down under the tension guide. And you'll notice, even if you've never seen an industrial machine before, this is very, very similar to any type of household machine. So I'm just going to bring up that take up lever all the way up to the top so that we know we have enough thread. Well, then after coming back up from the thread guide below the tension spring, we'll go into the take up lever here, feed it through, and then back down. And I have another thread guide here, so we'll put it in there, and a thread guide here at the bottom. And then I have one more thread guide right above the needle here at the bottom. So I'm going to feed that through out the side, and then we'll go right into the needle. I'm just going to drop my pressure foot here for a moment and feed it through the needle. So the industrial machine has the needle sideways, or the hole actually in the needle sideways. A lot of household machines, it will go from front to back, but the industrial machine goes from side to side. Now that we have our needle threaded, we're going to move on to the bobbin here. So the bobbin casing is very similar to any kind of bobbin casing you'll see for a regular household machine or an industrial machine. They're all the same. So I'm just going to take this bobbin casing and plop my bobbin into it, slide it in like regular so that it unrolls clockwise and that it fits underneath this tension spring. So this tension spring is just a flat piece of metal that's screwed onto the bobbin casing, and you'll want to know that this little screw, it just holds the spring in place, whereas this larger one, more to the left of the slit here, this is actually for the tension of your bobbin. So you'll want to make sure that your bobbin has a nice tension as it unrolls as well. It should unroll easily, but not just run through. So if you're having trouble getting a good tension set on your machine, definitely check your casing and your bobbin to see if you might need to tighten it up. So I'm just going to grab this. So this bobbin actually just sits under here, obviously, but I'm going to just stick it in by going under the table. So I'm just going to go underneath there and pop it in. It's kind of difficult to see, but it just pops in. If you heard it pop, and you'll know it's in place, and then just do one stitch to bring up my thread, and then if your threads are too long, of course, you can trim them off, and I like to just put it underneath the pressure foot. So there we go. Now our machine is all threaded, and we can just do a quick little tension test. So there you go. That's how you thread this Yuki industrial sewing machine. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it wasn't too wiggly, but that way you'll be able to see, hopefully, the detail a little bit better than that live version. And I do hope that the sound was better quality on this video as well. Until next week, I do wish you happy sewing. And if there's a video that you would like to see me make, then comment below or come over to my Facebook group, Sew with Chelsea, and mention it there. You can also post pictures, ask a question with a photo or a picture of something that's going on with your project, then definitely mention it there. I also have a couple of free patterns that you can find the link to in my Facebook group. And then you can get signed up for my mailing list, as that is the best place to keep in touch with me, both by messaging me and just staying up to date with the classes that I offer. Or if you're interested in becoming a private student, then you can get all of that information best by being on my mailing list, and I do have that link. in my Facebook group. So once again, happy sewing, and we'll see you on the next episode of Workshop Wednesday.